don't see it. I don't get it. I don't agree with it, James Jones. But starting with you, do you agree with Kittle that the Niners Super Bowl window is closing?
No, I don't. I believe they're in a really good situation, and the reason why is you got a young quarterback under contract, right? They always say when you're able to draft a quarterback and he starts playing well, you got him under contract. Now we can pay some other people, get some key free agents in there and go win. That's exactly what the Niners have right now. You have a young quarterback that you don't got to pay no money no time soon, no big money, and you can be able to go out there and get some free agents and all that. So I do not agree with Kittle. I think their window is wide open to go out here and compete year after year and have a chance to win some Super Bowls.
Where you at on this one, Joy?
These windows don't stay open forever. You know how I feel about the 49ers the past couple of years. I don't think it's closing next year, but it's not going to last forever. You know there's a lot of turnover at key positions. You've got a plan to pay people eventually. If Brock Purdy is what they think he is, they are going to have to pay him after 2 years. So I don't think he's entirely wrong. We envision these teams as lasting the way that they are for decades at a time. It just doesn't work that way. And you have really, really high-end talent that is in their prime right now that you have to capitalize on. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when somebody's going to be injured, and particularly with this team, somebody's going to get injured. It's the most injured team in the NFL. So I'm torn on this because I do think that they still have a good 2 years to get it done. But is that a really long window if you aren't sure what you are going to have at the quarterback position?
I'm with both of y'all to some degree. I don't think it's closing, but I do think it's as wide open as it's ever been. I don't think the 49ers window has ever been more wide open than it is right now. Who is in the NFC? The Cowboys, the Eagles, the Niners, and then there is a massive gap between the first tier and the second tier. Yeah. I would argue a more massive gap than we have seen in the NFC in a mighty long time. Yeah. When I look at the Niners defense, 2-5, the reason I don't think it's closing, Fred Warner, 26, Dre Greenlaw, 25, Hufanga, 23, Ward, 25. So when I think about those pieces on defense, the elder... Oh, I didn't even talk about... My bad. That's on me. I ain't even talk about Bosa, who I believe is 25, 26. Not looking at it in front of me, but Bosa's not an older player, so I don't think it's closing 2-5. What I really think is it's as wide a gap as it's ever been. There's no Aaron Rodgers in the NFC. There's no Tom Brady in the NFC. Matthew Stafford and his team are maligned. Kyler Murray is maligned. So I don't see the NFC being as historically tough as it's been. It ain't closing. It's wider than it's ever been.
I don't think it's closing at all. I mean, we look at their team. First of all, one thing you said, the NFC is wide open, right? You got the Eagles, you got the Eagles, then you got the Cowboys, then you got the Niners. But other than that, I mean, who else is there? So that's one part of it. And the second part is the team. First of all, the Niners, they draft very well. Yeah. A lot of players that you just named, other than Ward, I could think of, were drafted there. So if your quarterback is not expensive, he's a rookie, he's on a rookie contract, that's always a plus. Yep. So therefore, you can pay more players because he's on a rookie contract. But then if you look at all the other players, say, hey, we drafted Kittle. All our wide receivers, we drafted them dudes, right? Now, you go out there, you get an add addition like CMC and the running backs, but overall, they draft so well on offense and defense where you're not nervous that if we lose a guy to free agency that you're worried because you can draft other players. So I think they have a big window. I truly do. And last thing, they're coached very well. Kyle Shanahan was a good coach. Like, right now, in my opinion, he's a top 5 coach.
Yeah. And then you talked on defense, all the young dudes.
I didn't even get to
Brock Purdy, I mean, rookie contract, right? Debo Young, Brandon Ayuk, he ain't even got his second one yet. You got what I'm saying? So they're still a young offense, too. They playmakers on offense is young. So like you said, this window is so wide open for the Niners, for me, strictly because you're able to build around your young quarterback without having to give him 200.
Too much money,
I guess what will take them over the hump then is the next question. That's really the question that's important. They have gotten to the apex 2019 versus LeSean McCoy and the Chiefs. The Niners, Chiefs, Super Bowl, Niners lose.
Lost.
2 consecutive...
Oh, my bad.
2 consecutive NFC Championship games last year, the year before. But, Joy, they seemingly can't get over the hump. Do you think that they can do it with Brock Purdy, with Kyle Shanahan's ideology of, hey, we're going to load up everywhere else, and at quarterback, we're going to have a great player in my system. Maybe not a great player in general, but a great player in my system.
It don't matter. In Shanahan we trust, right? Church of Shanahan. We shall have a defense. We shall have a wild running game. We shall have a Kittle, but we shall not have a starting quarterback. It's what we shall not have, and you will be fine with it. And that is how you're going to live your life as a Niners fan. That's what it's been. What is Jimmy Garoppolo? make him throw on 3rd down in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I like Jimmy. That's not a starting quarterback. That's not a franchise quarterback. A starting quarterback, sure. That's not a franchise quarterback. Brock Purdy was the last pick in the NFL draft, had a tremendous run last year. I don't want to dig into the numbers all the way and the teams that they beat and all that, whatever, semantics. But those semantics might come up this year. We're going to see what Brock Purdy is. This has always been the position of question with this team. It's why I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm more frustrated for Niners fans than Niner fans are frustrated. I know it's part of the cult, so I get it. It's very difficult to have these conversations. But this team is so talented. It's crazy the talent that they have on this team. It's like all-time talent.
Yeah.
What is the thing that's holding them back, Emmanuel?
That's an easy one.
What is the thing that's holding
them back? Don't think about it.
You say QB?
Would I say QB? Answer the question. I'm being serious.
Brock got hurt last year, though. He got hurt.
Yeah.
No. He didn't get hurt. He was removed by the Eagles defense from the game.
Him.
Yes, they hurt him.
Yeah, he got hurt.
They hurt him.
We do that.
He didn't like trip.
No. I'm saying, but I guess my thought is very simple. If the Niners had the quarterback that we hope they have.
It's always if. What is the position?
No, say they did. I'll remove the word if. Assume the Niners had the quarterback we want them to have. I don't think they would have the roster that they have. So unless they're the Philadelphia Eagles, who both have star quarterback and really good roster, though their roster this year is not the same as their roster last year, unless they're the Eagles, then it's hard to have both. And even we'll see this year.
It's not hard to have both. Every other team in the league is trying to do it that way, except for the 49ers. So to me, this is always the 49ers experiment. We're going to load up and have talent, wild talent at every position, and we're always going to have a question at the quarterback position. When everyone is doing something one way and you're doing it the other way, then it should work if you continue to do it that way, right?
Correct, but it is to some degree.
Are you winning a Super Bowl? Did you win a Super Bowl?
6 playoff wins since 2019.
Is the goal to win playoff games or is the goal to win Super Bowl? I like goals. What's the goal? What's the goal of the season? Is the goal of the season to be competitive? Is it to get the NFC Championship game? Is it to make a Super Bowl appearance? Or is it to win a Super Bowl?
But you can't do one without the other.
That's what I'm saying, though, right now. I'm listening to all y'all talk right now, and we keep going quarterback. We keep going, the head coach. The head coach needs to find ways to win. I understand Brock Purdy got hurt last year, but you went out and got Jimmy G, right? They went out and signed Jimmy G to big money, right? You thought Jimmy G could get it done in your system, right? NFC playoff games, you have lost. Super Bowl, you have lost. And we're going to say 2 of them because you was with the Falcons when y'all blew that lead, right? So at one point, we got to point the finger at the head coach. We are saying that this roster is the most talented roster in the National Football League, right? And that's including the quarterback spot, too. People pick the Niners as one of the most talented teams.
No doubt.
If this was, and I don't want to take it there, but if this was Coach Mike, boy, a lot of this blame would be on Coach Mike. So at one point, we got to look at the head coach to find ways to get you over that hump.
I guess here's my issue with this conversation in general. My issue with the conversation, and this is just where I am philosophically, I don't punish somebody more for going and losing than I do the individual who didn't go at all. So when I look at the Niners and I look at Kyle Shanahan, only Andy Reid has won more playoff games in the last 5 years. Only Andy Reid, who shady submits, and I would agree, is the greatest coach of all time. So I can't punish Kyle Shanahan more than I will punish every other coach in football, because Kyle Shanahan quite literally does a better job, except for you can say Sean McVay because he won a Super Bowl in the last several years. You can say Andy Reid, and maybe you can say Doug Peterson if you would like, because he won a Super Bowl in 2018. But I can't punish him, James, for going and losing more than I punish the ones who ain't even gone.
Only reason why I say that is because Andy Reid was a great coach in Philly.
He was.
You understand what I'm saying? But they like, man, you are not winning that big one. Right? That was the knock on Andy Reid before he went to the Chiefs. Andy Reid, excellent coach, coming out of bye weeks, winning playoff games, doing excellent. But he did not win the big one. And when he went to Kansas City and he finally won the big one, then that's when we started talking about greatest coach of all time. So for me, we talk about Kyle Shanahan really like he is one of the greatest coaches of all times, one of the greatest minds, and he hasn't won the big one. And we always find ways to point fingers at everything else except the head football coach.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.